So what's going on, everyone? I want to talk about the truth about the Cold Steel Frenzy. For example, I've carried it around for a while, and you've seen me post teasers about it. But it is a very unique styled knife, and I've gotten to use it in an EDC capacity, everyday carry, for the last 2 months, 3 months, and I've figured out exactly where it falls. You'd be surprised. It's a great knife. But first, I wanted to go over this. It's a book I got shortly before I moved. Might have been right when I moved here to Monroe, North Carolina. It's called The Seer by J. Ray Shute. The author, J. Ray Shute, is actually from here. He's from Monroe, North Carolina. He wrote this book and several other books in the early 1900s. This is from 1950. It's interesting because I didn't know this guy was from here when I stumbled upon this book. Kind of just opened it and realized when I saw the Monroe, North Carolina. The Seer, His Parables and Tales by J. Ray Shute. He's created a few like rec centers around here in town. He did a lot of community outreach, and his family's still around. So yeah, his book here it reminds me of like going through like Epictetus. It's kind of got these little koans and stories, and it's pretty good, profound, dry sometimes, but guy had some spirit in him. He needed to get out, and it seems like he had his head on his shoulders. The binding is very nice on it too. Like he spared no expense. It's kind of inspirational because I got a book that I just finished writing the beginning of fall last year. I'm doing a Kickstarter for it soon, and the only reason I'm doing a Kickstarter is because I don't want to do a paperback. I kind of want to make my book count. Who knows if I'll be making more than one book, but I know that I want to publish the one that I have, and when I do, it's going to be nice. You feel me? Hardcover, nice, because it might be the only one. So it was inspiring. I really like this. I'm going to read a paper's really nice too. Wow. I'm going to read one of the passages from here. It's just it's a bunch of short little short stories, essays. This one's called Of Time and Space. So the Earth is but a tiny cosmic speck in the everlasting and all-encompassing reach of infinity. We needs must stop prating of time and space, for they are not in the world, but the world is in them, and so contained. When man shall have ceased being the chronologer and begun acting the role of historian, then only shall events become more apparent. Then the where and the when thereof. What we do is far more important than the where or when it is done, for the birth of an idea is a divine event and should not be restricted to locale and time. Rather, we should know the mental physician and the moral process, forgetting the place and the hour. The speaker. He who speaks loudest has the least to say. He who preaches longest has failed to discover upon what topic he should expound. He who condemns himself is frightened. He who uses the biggest words is most often stammering intellectually. Listen to him who speaks softly, for he has a message. He who is brief quite frequently is profound. He who would have give praise to a man may be a prophet, and he who speaks simply usually thinks most deeply. Thanks, Mr. Shute. I don't know you, but you're still speaking. On to this frenzy. All right. So the cold steel frenzy. This is an interesting knife, isn't it? It looks like a fighting knife, and to be honest, all knives are fighting knives. I mean, they can lock open. This one is, it's a slicy. 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 Swiss Army knife, but it's specifically marketed and geared towards military. I can't think of another more tactical knife. At least philosophy of use. This is a combat knife. This is a Warrenclyffe, but its role can extend into the self-defense role. It is very, very thick stock. Let me get some materials to cut up. All right, these videos are always impromptu, so I grab some paper, I grab some cardboard, and I grab some leather hide, not just some cheap bonded leather. This is an actual fucking hide you'd make a holster out of. Um, so to my point, I saw a few other videos. Nobody's really talking about this knife yet. There's a few videos out there. One guy you should check out because he's got a decent channel. Gideon's Tactical. He's one of the few guys I saw post a video about this knife, like directly after I did. And he went over it, and he was honest. He was just honest about it. I mean, he tried to cut a tomato, a little cherry tomato, but who the fuck cuts a it won't cut it to me. I mean, it's kind of a thick grind. Go check out his video. He describes the geometry very, very good, but in practical use, just for everyday EDC, like it works. Like I'm gonna cut cardboard, paper, plastic. It's got draw cuts too, so when I cut out labels on boxes, I don't even go all the way because I actually use this knife in a practical setting. So working on a warehouse and you gotta pull off barcodes or a tag, you can pull out that tag because you try to pull off that sticker, it don't work out. It just tears it up, fuck up your SKU. But yeah, you could just score it and rip it out. I thought that was very practical for work. Leather. Let's see. Leather. Works out. I mean, I'm gonna cut leather with this thing. I'm gonna cut upholstery with this thing. I'm not gonna really cut tomatoes. I mean, I might try, but I would just go tip first and kind of slide. Let's see this combat knife. Serrations. Ooh, a combat. That's why it's a combat knife. It can cut through skin like nothing. It's a fighting knife. Um, that's basically what I wanted to, like, I guess, talk about. It's philosophy. It's practical for everything, and yeah, it does extend into a self-defense role because my whole point is what knife wouldn't. Um, Stop judging the tools. Judge the person. Knives don't hurt people. Stupid people hurt themselves, and bad people hurt people. I like this knife. I've always been a fan. If you look back at my videos of the Warrenclyffe, but I guess you could say the Hawkbill style blades. My first knife, my oldest knife, is a pruning knife, which is basically a traditional karambit, if you think about it. A Hawkbill pruning knife for your garden is just a karambit. It's a farmer's karambit. That shape is what I've been using since I was 10 years old, and it's evolved into Warrenclyffe's sheepfoot blades, and I really like those as far as utility blades go. That's exactly what that is. It's a little pointy and it's painted black and it's got some crazy shapes to it. And Cold Steel said that they modeled it inspired off of something else, a Japanese helmet breaker sword knife. But that Hawkbill knife is like, so it's like a scythe. It was inspired off of a scythe, which is the Grim Reaper, death. Like, I just feel like I carry around this knife for work, and people are going to be like, "Oh, judgy." They are. They're just like, "Oh, that's a fighting knife." Yeah, it can be used as a fighting knife because I honestly I could use any knife as a fighting knife. You see me throw knives too. I just like pointing out the ridiculousness of opinions. False opinions. This knife is very expensive. I'll say that. It's a little overpriced for what you get. The G10 is premium. I don't know if there's like a grade quality for G10, but I'd say this is the best. It looks like carbon fiber. but it's still G10. This is CPM 3V steel, made in Taiwan. My qualm is this: hold steel. You prided yourself on coming up with basically your product lines are manufactured and overbuilt to a superb quality. You use the same materials and sometimes techniques that these other big brand names use, but you manufacture them overseas, Taiwan, and you're using lucrative business tactics to bring the costs down to make your knives more available. Like sometimes you want an S35VN knife, but you don't want to drop 150, so you just go get a cold steel because they got the same shit built, and it's going to be like 65, $70. This is like 160. And then the large frenzy, the original one with like the blue handles, like that's like 105, 110. How does that make sense? It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Um, yeah, it's a great knife. Otherwise, I got this on sale. It's 160. I paid 120 for it, or 115 or some crazy number, and that's the only reason I really pulled the trigger. I'd wanted to get the larger one for a long time because it's a pretty knife, not to carry, but just to have because it's kind of cool. I actually held one at Smoky Mountain Knife Folks when I went over there, and like I was at first I thought it was a ridiculous knife I saw online. I saw it in the shelf, the glass case, and I was just like, let me see that one. And I just held it, and I was like, Cold Steel Frenzy, the big one. Surprisingly cool. And it was on my bucket list for a while. So when I finally decided to like go ahead, I'm just gonna fucking buy it. Just gonna buy it. I save some tip money on the side, a little jar away from the kids, away from the rainy day fund, like away from the wife too, which she knows about it, but it's still something I get to spend. Uh, so I was like, I'm gonna go buy it. And then when I searched it up on Amazon, I saw Frenzy 3.5 because it's not called a Frenzy 2, it's just another Frenzy that is designated as 3.5, which is the length of the blade. And I was like, what? Like, that's more practical because I know I love the big knife, but I'm not going to carry it. And this is a smaller one. Like, it might work out. And it did. Um, but the pocket clip is a nice deep carry pocket clip. I put it back on for this video. I have no problems with the pocket clip at all. I just got a piece of brass. Yeah, just got a piece of brass. This stock, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer this into a bezel or a bezel. Oh, damn, tongue tied. Those things you put on the knives right here. A bail, bezel, same thing, kind of. I mean, necklace, bezel, knife, bail. But anyways, when you take this pocket clip off, you can see that cutaway, the recess right there, the two screws. Yeah, and then it's the same thing on that side. So if you look, you'll see that there's a perfect. I can essentially hammer this bar like somewhat flat, take my drill press, two holes, and make a clevis type of horseshoe that would fit right over that, like a clevis mount. It would just like a clevis mounted type of hinge or some shit. I think that's a great feature. I wanted to do that just to add the factor because I think black and brass, that'd be dope. And then the reason is when I put this in the pocket without the pocket clip, it's so smooth. It's the ergonomics on it. It seems a little wild, right? Like almost like a bamboo strip, like their other like that Luzon knife. But it's stupid smooth, and when it's in your pocket, it feels like the Pioneer X, a little Swiss Army knife. It really does. I forget it's there, and I really didn't expect that because it seems so long. And I figured I'd feel it like when I sat down or I crouched, I'd feel it pressing up against my thigh because pants, the tension on the pants. You can feel everything in your pockets when you EDC stuff. When you actually work, it's a pain in the ass. So I expected to feel that, but I didn't. So I was like, I'm gonna add a bezel so I don't have to dig my hand. Uh, yeah, a bail so that I don't have to dig my hand in my pocket all the time. I can just have a little utility clip or a lanyard to pull it out. Um, the tip has actually been proven really, really effective. Here, let me show you something. Well, I'm gonna have to show you like this because basically I whittle a lot, and a lot of my whittling knives have like just a lot of belly, or it's a sheep's foot, so there's a high belly or arch on top, so it's hard to get into those corners. And I have used X-Acto knives in the past, but the security of this, uh, the tip is so strong because it's CPM 3V, and it's such an acute angle. I'm able to plane things and get up into those corners. Like, it's not my main tool, but when I'm using my chisel, like a chisel or a knife or whatever I'm using to carve, and I, instead of getting up and having to go get another tool or something, I could just pull this out of my pocket, and I found that very useful. Um, the grind on it, like I said, I'll repeat that. That guy Gideon from Gideon's Tactical said it was thick. Anyways, he said it was thick, and it really is. It is like a wide beveled grind, but just don't cut your tomatoes with it. It'll cut your sandwich just fine. It'll cut your apples just fine. And yeah. So if I did have to use this as a self-defense knife, other than it's practical, like it's just a cutting implement tool, it's well suited for that too because it basically has finger grips, I guess you could say, but that just adds to ergonomics for my pocket. But that's a good thing. It's not really a karambit, so it's not so aggressive that it like screams tactical. Because you see somebody pull out a fucking karambit, like okay, Deadpool, like what the fuck? That's less scary-ish. Um, it's nice, super slim and super thin, and yeah, I guess you can use it as a self-defense knife too. I could, but it's not where my mind goes at first. Honestly, I see this knife, like I said before, and I think this is called a soldier knife. Like, I could drag this, I'll just do it right now, across leather and get a nice slice in it. I mean, this is harder than your skin would be because this has been tanned. And I do the same thing with the cold steel. I'd have to add a lot more pressure to get the same kind of effect. Honestly, this is good at more at poking, but slashing. I mean, this is poking too. Have you ever seen the reviews people do on this? There's guys out there that'll take this knife and they'll like stab hoods of cars, and the lock doesn't fail. Like they're able to go at it, like stab holes in the side of cars and the car hoods, and the lock doesn't break. And it takes quite a few whacks for the tip to actually finally break, more than you'd think. So yeah, I guess this is just a channel about perception. I rambled for long enough about nothing. I guess it's 18 minutes. Thanks for listening. You got a interesting day today. Got another interview. Let's see how that works out. And I got a few clients to fill the bill for. Got a table. Let's see. Got another chair and a small upholstery. And a little fancy ottoman. Got to reupholster. Got to go with the fabric later. So, need this part-time job and this YouTube channel to fund my hobbies, the side projects. Thanks for watching.